Shalom Israel, all praises to the Most High in the name of His only begotten Son. This is brother Adriel doing the lesson on the dietary laws. Now, according to Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14, there's the laws he gave us on the clean foods, the clean animals we can eat, and also the unclean animals we can't eat. And this is going to be a two-part series because there's a physical understanding as well as a spiritual understanding of the dietary laws. So this is part one. We're going to look at the physical understanding of all the laws he gave us concerning the clean and unclean animals that we can eat and can't eat. So let's get started. Leviticus chapter 11 verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Whatsoever parteth the hoof, and is cloven-footed, and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat. So these are the three requirements that the Most High gave us to pronounce an animal to be fit for consumption, to be pronounced clean. If it part the hoof, if it's cloven-footed, and it also has to chew the cud. If it don't have all these three requirements, then the Most High says that they are unclean, or he calls them abominable. Okay, let's continue. Verse 4, it says, Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof, as the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. And the coney, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. And the hare, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. And the swine, though he divide the hoof, and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean unto you. Now let's stop right there real quick, because it mentions the swine. For those who don't know what swine is the pork or the pig. So that's your bologna, your sausage, okay, that's your salami, bacon, these are things that's pork or swine. Now the reason why this needs to be emphasized, because swine or pork is one of the main abominations being eaten in the world. I mean, you see swine in everything, in every type of ingredients. There's pork. And not only just food, but cleaning supplies, hair products, skin products, sports equipments. I mean, anything, books. You see swine in just about anything. But it mentions the swine not to eat it, or don't even touch the carcass. When you read the next verse in verse 8, it mentions don't touch his carcass. But like I said before, you see pork in everything. Now, just a quick fact about swine. For those who don't know, swine is the filtration system of the earth. Okay, the swine's job is to clean the filth of the earth. And when the swine eats, it digests and absorbs everything that it eats. And the pig eats anything. I mean, it will eat its own vomit, a dead body, feces, you name it. A pig will eat anything and everything on this earth. Why? Because its job is to clean the filth of the earth. So when that pig, let's say, eat that vomit or dead body or its own feces, right? Let's say the pig is eating that. Its body is going to absorb it. So when you eat that pig that just had those, that ate whatever just ate, you're consuming the same exact thing that pork or that pig just ate. So you're technically eating its feces, vomit, or dead body. That's why you see so many parasites and diseases associated with a pig. Because we're not supposed to eat that. A pig is not food. That's its sole purpose, is to clean the earth. That's why the Most High says that the pork or the swine, it's abominable. You don't eat that thing. It's not meant to be food. But that's one main thing, one main abomination that's being pushed real heavy in the world. Okay? So that's a fun fact about that pig. A quick fact just to inform you of why the Most High saying it's abominable. But let's keep reading in verse 8. Verse 8, of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall ye not touch. They are unclean to you. So a carcass is a dead body. So if you ever seen like a dead deer on the side of the road, they call it roadkill. That's a carcass. You know, if an animal died itself, or if it's been killed, whatever, it's dead. It's unclean. You can't touch it because at this point, the body is going to its decomposing stage, if you will. It's being broken down, being decomposed, and also at this time you have a whole bunch of insects and maggots that surrounds it to, they eat it and to consume it. So at that point, it's disgusting. It's clean. You don't touch it. You don't take it home with you. Try to wash it off and clean it. You let it be. So we're gonna get more scriptures on that as well. On the Most High giving us instructions on dealing with dead carcasses. So let's continue reading in verse 9. It reads, "These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters. Whatsoever hath fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall ye eat. And all that have not fins and scales in the seas, and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you. They shall be even an abomination unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, but ye shall have their carcasses in abomination. Whatsoever have not fins nor scales in the waters, that shall be an abomination unto you." Okay, so here's another main scripture that needs to be highlighted, because the Most High is saying that any fish in the sea that don't have both fins and scales, they are an abomination unto us. Now we know what don't have fins and scales. That's your crabs, your shrimps, your lobsters, your mussels, your people eat eels, things like that. These don't have fins and scales. The Most High calls these an abomination. But when you look at these type of things, these are crustaceans. These are considered a delicacy in this world, meaning it's good to eat a high-class meal such as lobsters and crabs and shrimps. Okay, it's a luxury to eat what the Most High pronounced an abomination. Now again, what's the role of a crustacean? Of the crabs and the shrimps and the lobsters? Their job is to keep the ocean clean. The same way the pig is the filtration system on the earth, it's the same way these crustaceans are a filtration system in the waters. So when you see the oceans and the rivers and things like this all dirty, that's because people are eating the things that the Most High meant to be in the water to keep it clean. That's why you have black and green water. Filthy, dirty. You can't even swim in water now because why? They are eating everything that's meant to be clean. You're not supposed to eat that stuff. Okay? Again, when their body absorb it and you eat these things, these abominations, you're taking on the same exact thing, filth, that these crustaceans ate. And people wonder why they have all these type of diseases and high blood pressure and high cholesterol and all these clogged arteries, things like that. Because we eating the abominations that we're not supposed to eat. And these things are a sin according to the Bible. We're not supposed to eat that. So if it don't have fins and scales like tuna, salmon, things like that, bass, we're not supposed to eat it. Picking up on verse 13, it says, "And these are they which ye shall have in abomination among the fowls. They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination. The eagle, and the ostrich, and the osprey, and the vulture, and the kite after his kind, every raven after his kind, and the owl, and the nighthawk, and the cuckoo, and the hawk after his kind, and the little owl, and the cormorant, and the great owl, and the swan, and the pelican, and the gier eagle, and the stork, the heron after her kind, and the lapwing, and the bat. All fowls that creep, going upon all four, shall be an abomination unto you." Now, the thing that most of these birds have in common are that these are birds of prey mostly. When you look at the eagle and the raven and the owl and so on, most of these birds are birds of prey. So the Most High is explaining to us not to eat these type of animals, but the type of fowls or the type of birds like the pigeon, the turkey, and the chicken and the quails, fowls like that. These are known as to be harmless type of fowls. Those are the ones that's clean to eat. So anything outside of those type of birds and that type of family, the Most High says that they are an abomination. Okay, so let's continue reading in verse 21. Verse 21. Yet these may ye eat of every flying creeping thing that goeth upon all four, which have legs above their feet, to leap withal upon the earth. Every these of them ye may eat, the locust after his kind, and the bald locust after his kind, and the beetle after his kind, and the grasshopper after his kind. But all other flying creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination unto you. Now, yes, we can eat certain insects. The Most High says that certain insects are clean to eat, and those are the one that leaps. Okay, so ones like the crickets and the grasshoppers, the locusts, those that really have the legs over their feet and that hop. Okay, those are the requirements. Anything else is abominable. So no, we can't eat a roach. Okay, we can't eat roaches, can't eat worms and maggots and flies and spiders, things like that. Those are abominable. And even in the book of Matthew, the 3rd chapter, it tells you that John the Baptist himself ate locusts and wild honey. So that's a pretty good example there. Okay, so anything outside of those that leap and have legs upon over their feet, is abominable. Okay, let's keep going. Verse 24. And for these ye shall be unclean. Whosoever toucheth the carcass of them shall be unclean until the even. And whosoever beareth aught of the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the even. The carcasses of every beast which divideth the hoof and is not cloven footed, nor cheweth the cud, are unclean unto you. Every one that toucheth them shall be unclean. And whatsoever goeth upon his paws among all manner of beasts that go on all 4, those are unclean unto you. Whoso toucheth their carcass shall be unclean until the even. And he that beareth the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the even. They are unclean unto you. So there's 2 things that's going on right here in verses 24 through 28. It's talking about touching or dealing with the carcass of the animals mentioned previous. So the Most High tells us that, dealing with the carcasses or touching it will be unclean until the even. But also in verse 27, it also mentions more animals that we can't eat that go upon the paws on all 4s, right? So that's going into your cats and your dogs and your hamsters, your rabbits, stuff like that. Okay, your bears, we can't eat that. Things that have paws that go on all 4. The Most High say we can't eat those. Those are unclean. And we're going to touch more on the carcass as well, because as we keep reading, it goes through the rodents as well, and it mentions about their carcasses touching certain things that you got to wash it or break it and get rid of it if their carcass found touching these things. So we're going to pick it back up on verse 29. Verse 29. These also shall be unclean unto you among the creeping things that creep upon the earth, the weasel and the mouse and the tortoise after his kind, and the ferret and the chameleon and the lizard and the snail and the mole. These are unclean to you among all that creep. Whosoever doeth touch them when they be dead, shall be unclean until the even. And upon whatsoever any of them when they are dead doeth fall, it shall be unclean. Whether it be any vessel of wood, or raiment, or skin, or sack, whatsoever vessel it be wherein any work is done, it must be put into water, and it shall be unclean until the even. So it shall be cleansed. And every earthen vessel whereinto any of them falleth, whatsoever is in it shall be unclean, and ye shall break it. Of all meat which may be eaten, that on which such water cometh shall be unclean, and all drink that may be drunk in every such vessel shall be unclean. And everything whereupon any part of their carcass falleth shall be unclean, whether it be oven or ranges for pots, they shall be broken down, for they are unclean, and shall be unclean unto you. Nevertheless, a fountain or pit wherein there is plenty of water shall be clean, but that which touches their carcass shall be unclean. And if any part of their carcass fall upon any sowing seed which is to be sown, it shall be clean. But if any water be put upon the seed, and any part of their carcass fall thereon, it shall be unclean unto you. And if any beast of which ye may eat die, he that toucheth the carcass thereof shall be unclean until the even. And he that eateth of the carcass of it shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the even. He also that beareth the carcass of it shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the even. And every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth shall be an abomination, it shall not be eaten. Whatsoever goeth upon the belly, and whatsoever goeth upon all four, or whatsoever have more feet among all creeping things that creep upon the earth, them ye shall not eat, for they are an abomination. Ye shall not make yourselves abominable with any creeping thing that creepeth, neither shall ye make yourselves unclean with them, that ye should be defiled thereby. For I am the Lord your God. Ye shall therefore sanctify yourselves, and ye shall be holy, for I am holy. Neither shall ye defile yourselves with any manner of creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. For I am the Lord that bringeth you up out of the land of Egypt to be your God. Ye shall therefore be holy, for I am holy. This is the law of the beast, and of the fowl, and of every living creature that moveth in the waters, and of every creature that creepeth upon the earth, to make a difference between the unclean and the clean, and between the beast that may be eaten and the beast that may not be eaten. So what we just read were laws and statutes pertaining to unclean and clean animals that die of itself, and what to do if these animals ever touch an earthen vessel or anything that you eat out of. Okay, the Most High tells us that if they die of itself, then they are unclean. And if we come in contact, or if we touch them or eat it, then we will be unclean. And he tells us to wash our clothes and wash our bodies and anything of the earthen vessel, and it will be unclean until the even. Now, when you read Leviticus 17 verse 15, it's a precept to it. It explains that if we do these things, if we do eat it and touch it, and don't cleanse ourselves, then we will bear that iniquity. Because again, at that point, those animals are unclean. And then in verse 42, it mentions the animals that go upon the belly, upon the all four, in the creeping things, and that's going into your snakes and reptiles and lizards and crocodiles and things like that creep upon their bellies on all fours. The Most High commands us not to eat those things because again, they are not food. Okay, everything the Most High created wasn't meant to be food. Only some things were meant to be food that He created. Okay, and these are the laws. Leviticus 11, the whole chapter. These are the laws that outlines the thing that we can and can't eat, so we can make a difference between the clean and the unclean thing. And also in Deuteronomy, the 14th chapter, it also outlines those dietary laws as well. And in that chapter, it gives more details on, more animals, specifically that we can and can't eat. So go through that chapter as well, because it's saying the exact same thing for more edification. So there's one more scripture I want to share with y'all, because even though the Most High gave us these laws on certain animals we can eat, There's a certain way that it must be prepared, a certain way that we can't eat it. So this is Leviticus chapter 17 and verse 10. It says, whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, that eateth any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood, and will cut him off from among his people. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon an altar to make an atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, no soul of you shall eat blood, neither shall any stranger that sojourneth among you eat blood. And whatsoever man there be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, which hunteth and catcheth any beast or fowl that may be eaten, he shall even pour out the blood thereof, and cover it with dust. Verse 14, for it is the life of all flesh, the blood of it is for the life thereof. Therefore I say unto the children of Israel, ye shall eat the blood of no manner of flesh, for the life of all flesh is in the blood thereof. Whosoever eateth it shall be cut off. So what does that mean? That means that you can't eat your food undercooked. You can't have your meat medium rare or medium well or just straight raw meat while it's still pink and still have blood dripping from it. It has to be well done. The Most High says that if you're eating your food undercooked while it's still pink or while it still have blood in it, you'll be cut off. Because that's the sin according to the Bible. So all of our food, that has to be well cooked and well prepared. That's the law of the Most High that He gave us for our food. Well cooked food. So again, this is the part 1 of the dietary laws. We just read through all the laws that we can and can't eat and how it must be prepared of the clean beast that He gave us. So I hope this was edifying. Lord willing, y'all tune in to part 2, which is going to be a good one. I don't want to miss that one. But this is the part 1 of the dietary law. And the part 2, like I said earlier, we're going to dive into the spiritual understanding, the spiritual aspect of these dietary laws and what they mean and why the Most High gave us to us. So again, all praises to the Most High in the name of His only begotten Son. This your brother Adriel, and I would say Shalom.